Now, we're always told, trust the experts. Well, today, we're going to do exactly that and see what celebrity vaccine scientist Dr. Paul Offit, a key player on the FDA's Vaccine Advisory Committee, has to say about the latest and greatest safe and effective offerings coming out of Big Pharma. For those of you not familiar with the good doctor's work, he wrote, Pandora's Lab, 7 Stories of Science Gone Wrong. In the book, Offit details all kinds of horrible mistakes that science plus government has made over the years, such as by repeatedly approving successive generations of opioids for pain treatment, each one more destructive than the last. Given that, who could blame you for assuming that if there's anyone that understood the potential for the horrifying long-term risks inherent in hastily, ill-conceived, politically driven drug approvals, it would be Dr. Paul Offit. Coupled with his expertise, he also possesses a very calm and capable demeanor. It's like your grandfather explaining things that are complicated in a comforting and very reassuring manner. Why, only last year, Dr. Offit explained to injection zealots why they didn't need to worry about any long-term side effects from their decision. We also know historically, when you look at vaccines and you find safety problems, and certainly there have been safety problems, severe safety problems associated with vaccines, they virtually always have been found within 2 months of getting the vaccine. And now we have really 2 years worth of data, and I don't think there are going to be any surprises at this point. And that's why it's important to be vaccinated. Thank you. Wowery schmurry. Just wait 2 months, you'll be totally fine. That's what Dr. Offit said. But given the speed of science, that 2022 science is past its prime. Ancient history, in fact, according to Dr. O now. Since it's 2023, this science has and is continuously evolving, just like the virus. So on Tuesday, Dr. O published a new video clip in which he outlined his rationale for not getting the new and improved safe and effective booster shot. Now, in his own words, in the most calm and reassuring manner I can provide, what the CDC needs to do is they need to tell us who is getting hospitalized this year and who is dying. What are their ages? What exactly are their comorbidities? Did they get a vaccine? If so, when was their last dose? More importantly, did they get an antiviral? I'll take myself as an example. I've had 3 doses of the Wu-1 strain. My last dose was in November of 2021. I had a mild 2-day infection in May of 2022. I think I'm protected. I didn't get last year's bivalent vaccine. I'm not getting this year's vaccine. I would like the CDC to answer those questions. One thing that kind of bothers me a lot is when people say, well, there's no downside. First of all, whenever you take any medicine or any biological, there's a downside. If there's an upside, they'll have a downside. The downside may be rare. It may be very rare, but nonetheless, there's always a downside. And we're going to find out about this vaccine over time. It is a novel strategy. We certainly were surprised by myocarditis and pericarditis. And you'll see whether or not over time, when we're 5 years into this, 10 years into this, 15 years into this, whether there's any evidence of residual myocardial disease. Because the reason you have myocarditis is you're making immune response to your own heart muscle. I mean, it appears to be generally transient and short-lived, but there's invariably a spectrum of disease, and we'll find out about that over time. It's perfectly reasonable to take those risks if the benefits are clear. But when the benefits aren't clear, then it's not so reasonable to risk even rare risk. I guess in 2022, the science mandated that the simpletons didn't need to concern themselves with information like there's always a downside, and we'll find out the side effects, over time. In fact, I remember a time not so long ago that just merely asking such heretical questions got you excommunicated from polite or even not so polite society. My, how times have changed. And I guess next, you're going to tell me that these weren't the safest, most studied drugs in history, Dr. O? Well, sir, that would just be a bridge too far. Anyway, I do appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Please feel free to post any comments you have in the comment section. You can always follow me on my Rumble, my Locals account. For those of you interested in actually hearing the words right out of Dr. O's own mouth in a very calm and reassuring manner, I have put a link in the notes section. Check it out, and I will see you next time.